Welcome back to the podcast. Oh, I'm so excited for this conversation ahead. I was asked to be on a podcast, and you may not all know this about me. I am very particular about where I spend my time, who I discuss energy with. I find that this work goes so deep and wide, and it's a slippery slope. And then I met Barbara, and Barbara invited me to be on her podcast, and I went to say no. And then I snooped around a little bit, and I love her story. And I love how on her website, she's just very centered and focused on the same values that you and I are centered and focused on. And so I said, sure, we'll do a podcast. And it said, well, what topic do you want? And I said, well, let's pick the topic of house clearings because I don't want to step on the toes of the work that she's promoting. So lo and behold, you will hear as the podcast goes on the surprise that Barbara is an absolutely magnificent energy worker around house clearings herself and has been for some time. So in this episode, we geek out, we connect, and I asked her if I could put this on my podcast. She was so gracious and said no problem at all. And I hope you check her out and just enjoy this very real and raw conversation as much as I did. And I know for a fact that we are getting into a season of our experience as humans that we're really going to be understanding the intricate value of the energy of our home and how it affects us in our day to day. So, if this is something that interests you, at the end of this podcast, in the notes, you're going to see a download available for you to do just a micro clearing, a little spiff up for your own home. And I hope you find it beneficial and enjoy this conversation with Barbara and I.
Welcome to the Spiritual Warrior Coach Podcast. This is a sacred space where healing begins, intuition awakens, and your spirit remembers its power. I'm your host, Barbara Savin, author, energy healing specialist, hypnotherapist, and spiritual life coach. For over 35 years, I've guided thousands of souls to protect their energy, trust their intuition, and step into their most empowered self. I invite you to join me for heartfelt conversations, spiritual insights, and gentle practices that nurture your soul and inspire your daily life. And together, we'll explore how to rise above negativity, trust your inner wisdom, and embrace the truth of who you are, a divine, radiant being of love and strength. So take a breath, settle in, and know you are not alone on this journey. You are loved. You are supported, and you are more powerful than you've ever been told. So let's rise together and join me now as your host. So thank you for joining me today, and welcome to the Spiritual Warrior Coach Podcast. I'm your host, Barbara Savin, here to help you reclaim your power, your energy, and your authentic self. And today, it is such a blessing to share this sacred space with my very special guest. And her light, her wisdom, and her heartfelt guidance are all gifts to us. So welcome, Emily, to the show.
Barbara, thank you so much. Hello, listeners. I love connecting with like-hearted souls.
So do I, believe me. And let me, tell everyone a little bit about you. Emily is a professional intuitive who helps people create harmony they can sense in their homes, their own energy, and their businesses. And through her signature house and space clearing, Emily helps individuals realign the energy of their spaces with their intentions to raise its vibration, supporting intuitive clarity, inner peace, and gentle personal expansion in their daily lives. And she believes a home isn't just where we live, it's an energetic ecosystem that supports and amplifies our inner world. Boy, that is such the truth. Welcome. I'm so happy that you're here today, believe me.
Same. I already feel such a kinship. And you and I were chatting right before we started, and you shared with me that you too do house clearings. And this is going to be quite a fun conversation because you don't necessarily market them. I only recently started marketing them, but
Oh, okay.
as we've discussed, they find us.
They find us, and um, I mean, I've been in some homes, where people call me in because they sense
Yeah.
ghosts or spirits, and you you walk in and you can feel
Right.
without a doubt the energy, and you know if it's okay or if it's not okay, if it's heavy
You
or
just
if
sit.
something happened prior to them, moving into that home.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
have you always had this ability to sense the energy?
I have, and it's my personal belief based on my experience. Everyone's intuitive, everyone is energetic and spiritual, and then we're all given, different paths to walk on to develop our unique sense of intuition and energy. So it just so happens that I've seen energy since I was a kid, and as you are likely very familiar with, the negative energies are a bit more dense and they're a bit more, they like to be a little bit more in your face. Whereas the
Yes.
good energy minds its own business, only comes in when, it's invited. So I experienced a lot of dense energy and I saw it as a kid. I slept with the blanket over my head through college. It was embarrassing. I remember when I would have sleepovers or someone would come stay with me, I'd be like, okay, this is the night. I'm not gonna sleep with the cover over my head. And I just thought that in every house I ever lived in, I just thought it was haunted. So we had
Oh.
Catholic priests who would come and do clearings, and it worked. We would have local neighborhood, like medicine women come and do clearings, and it worked. It always worked.
Hmm.
And then I didn't seek out actively learning how to do house clearings. It was a part of a Reiki group I was in. And I just noticed that it came to me really naturally. So,
And so then you started doing it. As a child, did you like see spirits in your home and feel
yeah.
them?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Quite a bit actually. And I still do today. But as you know, we can turn this up or turn it down as we choose. And I think that was the most powerful thing that I learned in my own personal life is that just because we are intuitive and empathic and what people call gifted, which I believe it's a skill set you develop, you can turn it up and turn it down when it's necessary and on a need to know basis. So I sleep great now, knock on wood.
I do too. Every now and then I do have something that comes into the house and I feel it just knows that I can send it to the light.
Oh, interesting. I know exactly
Yeah.
what you're talking about. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. We had a really big windstorm here about 2 to 3 years ago, and something came into my room through the windstorm. And so I was like, okay, I said, so I need to reevaluate, the boundaries in my home, but same thing, sent it on its way. So,
Yeah, we have to. I know.
yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
unless and I always ask it, what is it that you need to tell me or to say to someone? But,
And I think that's so interesting
mhm.
because two of my friends also do house clearings and they do the same. They interact with these beings and I I connect with my inner light, connect directly to source, and I'm like, is there anything we need to know for the highest good? Because there's so many energies in this other realm. People talk about ghosts and demons and spirits and all this stuff. I mean, there's so many energies out there. I'm like, I don't have time to get to know them all. I want to go watch a movie.
I
So
know.
I'm
Do you
like,
feel it's sometimes you can't watch the movie that they bother you?
okay, it's funny that you say that. So that used to be the case. And then again, through my inner light, I learned how to turn it up and turn it down. So, I was at a friend's house about a year and a half ago and they had let's call it a haunting because they were being haunted. And I was able to sit there and enjoy my evening without being disturbed. So, but that's the inner light practice, which I'm happy to discuss here too. So,
Yeah, I'm curious how to do because sometimes I'll go into someone's home, like say a friend's home,
yeah.
and it's like I'm saying to myself, oh, all
Yeah.
right. So, what am I, you need to leave me alone. I'm here to socialize, not to clear. So yeah, and I sometimes I actually find it a little challenging to turn it off.
Yeah, I can see that. And so I actually, funny enough, I learned about my inner light during a house clearing. So it was a beautiful home. It's what we call a Street of Dreams home here in the Seattle area. And I was using physical tools to do the clearing. So silver and smoke and things of that nature. And the smoke detectors were going off and we couldn't take them down off the wall. They were wired in. And I went to my spirit guides and I said, "What do I do?" And they showed me this light within me. And when I saw with my third eye all the people that I know, I saw everyone had a light. Now, I had been doing in-person Reiki sessions at the time, and I had seen every time I had a client session, I saw this light within a person. I didn't know what it was. So I would just tell people, I'm like, "Do you feel a light within inside you?" And then we'd go to the light. And what I quickly came to learn, so my guides had me lay down at the edge of the bed. I remember thinking, oh my gosh, if they come home, they're paying me for this house clearing and they see me just laying
Lay
down
down.
on their
Hmm.
in the bed. I was like, they're gonna, kick me out. But anyway, and the house clearing took about 20 to 25 more minutes. So source or spirit, the activation of source energy came through me and I was also co-creating with it and I was divinely protected because your inner light is source, whatever you want to call it, Jesus, God, the creator, divine, universe, doesn't matter. Whatever you call that, that's your connection. And then it's also your spirit team. And as you know, our spirit team can include a lot of different types of energies. And then our spirit guides that are our closest network guiding us. So when you connect with your inner light, you are in the light and the light always prevails. So what I do now is so that house clearing happened and I thought, oh my gosh, I have to tell everybody needs to know about their inner light. Now, the inner light has been written about for centuries. It's not something I created or came up with. Many people know about it. It's a common term. What I have found is that there's these beautiful foundational laws built into light and love energy, and one of those is divine protection. So
Yes.
when you're connected to the light and you're running energy for yourself, you can say, okay, I declare no disturbances for the highest good for the rest of the evening. Or I'm on a need to know basis. Only get my attention if there's something that I can help or support and it makes sense. So, and then the flip side of that is, as you and I know, following our intuition. Like today, I'm doing a half-hour energy activation for people because I kept getting the nudge to create it and do it. So it's like scratching that spirit energetic itch that I get. So to me, that's my responsibility is okay, yes, so these things are turned off so I can sleep and enjoy my life, but then at the
Hmm.
same time, I'm also answering the greater call when I'm needed, if that makes sense. And
Oh,
we're all
100%.
needed. Everybody's needed, just to be clear.
Oh, it's the truth. And yeah, and as you know, I mentioned when I do walk into, a friend's home or um and many a times that the energy is there because I need to say something to them.
Wow.
Yeah. And so
To the homeowner or to
to
the energy?
to the homeowner, well, to both actually.
I believe that 100%.
Yeah. And so I tell them, all right, I'm here to socialize, but if you need to say something for their purpose, for their highest good, to let me know. But then
Mhm.
if you need to leave, at one point I will send you to the light. So yeah, so it's interesting when you go into homes and you feel all this sometimes very heaviness, or I'll walk into someone's home and into a room and I can feel where there's been abuse
Yep.
or drug addiction or somebody hitting someone or yelling or crying. And and then I'll mention to the homeowners, if they knew this, and sometimes they did, sometimes they didn't. But it's amazing what we feel when we walk into a home with the intention that we're here to fill this house with, divine light and healing. Um, and it's just there. It's just there for us. So I would assume you feel the same when you go into someone's home.
Yeah. It's so, first of all, I think what you just shared is really special. It gave me chills too because it tells me that this is like I would say, and you please tell me if I'm wrong or whatever here, but this is part of your unique craft. This is part of your unique gift that as you go into these homes that there's messages to be relayed. And to your point, I'm fascinated because so far I've found there seems to be two sides of the same coin. There's people that believe that there's just negative energies,
Hmm.
ghosts, etc. And then there's people who believe 100% of those energies come from human emotions. And
Yes.
And I believe that there's a large percentage, to your point, if there's abuse, drug use, anytime we're out of our power, disbelief in self, but disbelief in self for an extended period of time when we do know better, when we've learned the lessons, but we're not acting on them, we're not integrating them, right? And so, b- and I, and at the same time, I have seen energies that have just come from other realms. So
Yes. Hmm.
when you say you feel that and sense it, what's going to be really interesting to me is with this mass spiritual awakening happening, more people are going to be more aware and sensitive to their surroundings and those things. Also, I'd be curious. It doesn't matter if it's a brand new home. It doesn't matter if it's an old home. I've seen old homes look fantastic and brand new homes need so much work because the workers are there, previous landowners or the land itself or all of that. So, yeah, old, new, medium, it doesn't matter.
Oh yeah, what I do, before I go to someone's home, I actually give them some prayers to begin writing so that we can put the prayers around the home, prayer of protection, prayer of love, prayer of, light. And they write, and then by the time I get there, they say, wow, I feel so much different. Just, and I
Yeah.
tell them they must be handwritten, and I know it's going to be a lot of writing, but you need to do it.
That's
And
so
they tell me
neat.
that they feel so different after writing, some of the divine God's prayers, um, and they feel lighter energetically. And so by the time I get there, the house is already starting to clear itself be-
Exactly.
because it knows it can't stay where there's love and light and healing.
Exactly. It's so what you said. So when I was trained in a traditional method around house and space clearings, none of that. We didn't do any of that. There was no prep work. There was none of that. It was more like, get out of the house, save yourself. So
Yeah.
it was scary. And
Uh-huh.
then when I left that class, one of the first things I did on my own was a house clearing. And I realized my spirit, spirit was telling me they need to set their intentions for the home.
Intentions.
What do they want to experience? I physically cannot do an energetic house and space clearing if they haven't set their intentions. I can't do it.
Exactly. Hmm.
It's crazy. There was a client and I was like, "Oh my gosh, she hasn't set her intentions yet. I can't get started." So it's fascinating to me. It's really fascinating to me the way it all works together. And I've had conversations with my guides about this and it's just they gently remind me the obvious, which is our homes are made out of earth. And earth is so beautiful and historic in her knowledge and her energy and how she can just shift. I mean, it's my opinion, she shifts faster than we do by
Oh,
a
without
landslide.
it. Yeah. Mhm. It's amazing, isn't it?
Oh, it's a gift. It really is a gift.
So
Yeah.
have you ever like experienced anything really like off the
Yes.
wall,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
really bad? I
Let's
have,
get
but
into
I'd
it.
like to
Let's
hear
get
what
into
you.
it. I'd
Uh-huh.
be curious to hear yours. So I always say I would never share like the top 10 worst stories because
Yeah. Hmm.
exactly, because I think until you feel really calm and certain in your own inner peace and your connection to the divine, it'd be tough to hear some of these stories. So one of the ones that blows my mind is I have seen a version of a clown in multiple experiences. And it's it's widened my eyes that a lot of the folk stories and lore that we have in our society actually stem from something. So that's one of them. The other one is I saw three demon babies. I didn't know demon babies. Yeah, I love that you're nodding. You're like,
Yes,
yeah.
I'm nodding. I've seen the same.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
tell me, because I've never met anyone else who's seen demon babies before.
Oh yeah, they were nasty little things. They were
Really?
mean. They were mean, and they actually pushed me. So
I know
yeah,
exactly what
and
you're
that's
talking about.
unusual when they touch,
Yes,
but
you
it can
feel it.
happen. And
Absolutely. It's like a pressure
it's
starts
a
to enclose.
pressure, right? And I says, "Oh boy, you are messing with the wrong person here," you know,
Yeah.
because well, as you know, you need to go into a place that no matter what happens, you cannot show fear.
Right.
Because if you show fear, it's over for you. So
Yes.
you have to go
Yeah.
in there truly knowing without a doubt in your mind that you are truly protected and your light, and divine light, God's light will win.
Amen. And that's all we need to say. There's more.
That's it.
There's
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
But you know
But
what's
they were
interesting?
weird. They were weird.
Yes.
Hmm.
And it's interesting you say that because I've also found that they will say really mean things
Oh,
and mean them.
they'll try to get you afraid.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. I can't believe this is the conversation
Oh
that we're
yeah, they'll really put like fear,
Yes.
if
Yes.
you allow them to. But if you like when that happens to me, I start saying all power is of God, and what is not of God has no power to do anything to me.
Oh,
And I just keep on saying it, and all power is of God. What is not of God has no power to do anything, to me. And I keep on saying it until all of a sudden it'll stop, and then it'll think about what it wants to do next.
you're making my heart sore right now hearing this. It's just I love hearing this. Not that these things are pushy, but that someone else has, and I know there's other people out there too.
Mhm. Oh
So it's just,
yeah.
yeah. I want to hear what one of your worst experiences is. I do want to keep going down this thread though, because there have been times in my earlier learning stages, which learning is an ongoing journey in this field, where I was so deeply challenged, it brought me to tears. So, clearing homes of loved ones and the things that these things would say to me. And it builds, I think, one of the greatest lessons of our universe is that just like life with energy, our greatest challenges makes you aware of what a warrior you are.
Without a doubt.
So
Doubt.
what was one of the weird things you've seen?
When I went into someone's attic,
Uh,
there was a very not so looking ghost. Scary,
yeah. Yeah.
that, and we just stood there and looked at each other, and I said,
Totally.
okay.
Totally.
You realize you're not going to win. I told it, you need to leave. But it was like, and as it started moving closer to me, and again I started saying my God's prayers, and I knew without a doubt I was protected, but I
Yeah.
could feel like my hair standing up, and I said, oh,
Letting you know.
this is letting me know,
Yep. Yep.
I will have a challenge here,
Yep.
you
Yep.
know.
Yep.
And I tell it, you may think you're going to challenge me, and I understand what you're doing, but you won't win because God will always win. The light always wins over the darkness.
Always. Always.
Mhm.
Yet not, but it's from a place of our own personal. I don't know if the word surrender sounds passive. We aren't passive, but it's God moving through us
Oh, without a doubt. Hmm.
that's what makes it possible. Yeah. It's sometimes I'm sure you're aware of this, but I always tell people size doesn't matter when it comes to the dark. It's density. And I have found but there have been some challenges where things will be stuck. And I'm like, oh,
Hmm.
I need to relax and allow. Like that's the surrender I'm talking about. Like I need to relax and allow even more power through me. Or sometimes my guides will give me words to say, and I'm like, what is that? I can't even remember what it is, Barbara. I can't even
Uh-huh.
remember what it
Oh
is.
no, many times we hear it and then it's
Yeah,
gone. And I don't remember. Hmm.
right, right. Yeah, they're like, we can't let you wield that power around town, Emily. We can't let you. We
It's
can't
just
let
for
you.
this time.
Yeah, exactly,
Uh-huh.
exactly. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. How do you see ghosts?
I just see them. At first, I can sense in the room something is there,
Yeah,
and then now they have a tendency. Some of them, as you know, um, will try to trick you.
of
They'll
course.
move
Yeah,
from all
yeah,
angles, behind you, in front of you,
right,
and they want you to think that there's more than just that one, but it's
right,
just that one.
right.
So yeah, I sense them, and then when I start to feel, I close my eyes, and then I can see.
Same, same. Yeah.
Mhm. Then I can see.
That's interesting. You know, I used to do in person. Oh, you want to hear a crazy story?
Yes.
Okay. So in person would freak me out quite a bit because I didn't know about my light. I didn't know about what we've talked about that, it's the God, the divine that's doing the heavy lifting, right? I was still under this belief system that it was my intention, my love, and the rocks I was holding that was doing the work,
Yeah,
which
I know.
which they were, but
Yeah.
it's okay. So I go to this house and I'm in this person's house alone by myself. In and there was a painting of Jesus. And there was a demon attached from before when this family received this picture of Jesus. And I don't know if you've ever done this, but if you ever hold up smoke when there's a demon present, it turns green and it smells. So I have short arms. My arm is extended as long as I could possibly, and to say I'm leaning on my spirit guides is an understatement. Again, I didn't know about my inner light at the time, and I'm literally leaning on my spirit guides, God, I'm calling in it all, and I'm seeing this green smoke smell and it took time. It
Oh,
took
yeah.
time and
Mhm.
oh gosh, I was like, get me out of here. I was like, this blows. It's like it was, I mean, I was very happy at the end with the result of it all, but man, talk about building some guts in that situation. So,
You have to. You have to build, and you have to not be afraid.
and
That's what it is. You can't, you have to know without a doubt, as I mentioned before, I always say, I know, I trust, I believe, without a doubt, I am protected.
right, right. When you experience these energies, you mentioned that you'll ask if there's communication. One of the other things when people will come to me to learn this practice, and as humans, we have such compassion. And then as women, we have a tendency to overgive, overexplain.
Mhm.
It's all the overs. And it's one of the cruxes is people will get so stuck in, well, there's good in this demon, there's good in the blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, just it's made its decisions. You wrap things up, you do what you got to do, and then go home to your family and have a good dinner. But
Exactly.
have you found that same thing that people will sometimes
Oh, they'll
lean
tell
in?
me, oh, but what, but uh, I feel it's okay. Don't you think it should stay?
Totally.
No,
Yes.
no, it should not be here. It needs to go to the light. It has people on the other side waiting for them, and they don't belong.
Amen.
They don't belong.
Yeah.
When we first moved into this house in Simi Valley, um, I cleared it. Of course, I cleared it. And then we were sitting in the living room, and all of a sudden, it was, this was crazy. Here I'm saying, okay, I put my God's prayers. I did everything that I usually would for everybody else. I did in my own home. Through the living room, the door, all of a sudden I see spirits walking in. And I say, don't tell me there's a porthole here
Yep.
that I
Yep.
missed.
Right.
And lo and behold, there was a porthole. And so I said to my husband, "Oh, do you see that?" And he looked, and of course he thinks I'm crazy sometimes. And he
Of
said,
course.
"See what?" I said, "We have spirits coming into this house." And I said to him, we turned off the television. I said to him, "You need to go into the other room now because I don't need anything attaching to you. And you
Yeah.
need to put yourself in God's light. Just sit inside and everything will be fine."
Yeah.
And I then, sealed the whole, got everybody out that I said, guys don't belong here. It's time to leave. I mean, I did other things also. I'm just making
No
it.
virtual party here.
Yes, it's no virtual party. And and it's nighttime. I don't need to deal with this. And so, yeah, it took a while. They all left. I sealed the hole and I says, all right, this is not a portal. And then I sat and I said, wow, I wonder why the people that lived here before me, they were very sick. And I said, oh, this makes sense now.
Yes. You know, it's interesting because a couple reached out to me recently and they said, we've both been feeling sick for the last year. Well, and do you know what came up in the house clearing? Because I do them remote,
Hmm.
not in person. There, and by the way, she gave me permission to share, but I saw the energy of asbestos. And so, and then this information, like, they'll do with it what they want to, but and who's to say there was actually four ghosts in that house, which is rare. I think so, like you seeing all the portal is a little bit, it's common, but it's not
But
common.
it's not common.
Yeah, so that's interesting. So they were unwell and
They
that
were
would make
unwell.
sense. Yeah.
So who
Wow.
knows what happened in here, in here. Um,
Right.
but I said, mm-mm, not on, not my space.
Good for you.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know this is your podcast, but do you mind if I ask you
No, not at all.
how did how did you get into house clearings? How long have you perceived energy?
Well, number one, I've been doing this for 45 years. And I started getting into house clearings when I lived back east,
Mm-hmm.
when I would go to someone's home and it felt weird. It felt heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was always into prayers.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would give them prayers and then they would tell me, "Oh, it felt better, but I still feel something." So as a healer that does energy healing and coaching and hypnosis, I would go in there and then I would sense and then I would have them leave, have would spirits leave and I can hear them talking to me why they're there or whatever the case is. So this has been going on. I've been doing this and I do it here in California. Um so I've been doing it for about 40 years, the clearing. And so that's how it all started back east. When
Interesting.
I would go into neighbors' homes or pick up my kids in school, and then I could feel at the school, wow,
Yep. Yep.
this is not good, or the bathroom. I remember one person actually where I worked at back East Islands Women's Medical. They're no longer there, and I can share the story.
Mhm.
I had gone into the building, and I said to her, "Oh, the women's bathroom is something's not right here."
Mhm.
And she asked me what it was, and I could sense that someone was raped in the bathroom.
Mm.
And we further looked into it, and lo and behold, someone was raped in the bathroom. And that is why now they had the keys that you have to have a key to get into a women's bathroom, but they never had it locked. And so I mean, this is a long time ago. That's when it really first started, when I can just sense something was not right. And I felt, like I couldn't breathe, or it was a weird feeling, very
Y-
weird.
This is it's it's bringing up this thought in my head about how if we're and other people are experiencing such feelings in different places, imagine what our physical bodies are carrying based on all of the years of different experiences we've had as humans.
Well, I think
Our
that's why some people feel very heavy energetically, or that they start getting sick, or they're stressed, worry, anxiety. I feel it's because of other people's energies. It may not necessarily be your own.
I couldn't agree more with that. It's a big one. It's a big one. It's why I've been writing solo for so long. It's like it's nice to be around people that really understand and hold their own energy well. So,
Yeah, it's like anything else. Um, you can feel absolutely incredible when you wake up in the morning and you go to work, and by the end of the day, you're saying, "Man, what is happening here? I don't feel too great." Is
right.
because you're picking up other people's energy. So imagine, if you purchase a home, what and the home is like, say, 30, 40 years old. How many people have been in that home?
Mm-hmm.
How many energies are there? Some
Mm-hmm.
energies are great and loving and good. Some energies are not so good and not loving and horrible. I mean, I
And
hate to say
some
it, but yeah,
it's well,
heavy,
that is true. They some are really terrible.
terrible.
Yeah, that's the part. And I'd be curious your experience, but a lot of them are so terrible, they'll be tricky. and they'll start saying nice things to people and they'll start saying, or playing to people's empathy card. And I always tell people, I'm like, your initial gut reaction, your gut feel is so critical to how you respond to anything. And
Mhm.
God will never be upset with you if you just are neutral in the light and say, if it's of the light, it's allowed back, and if not, it needs to go.
It needs to go. Exactly. And that's how it should be, because if you're not of the light, don't let it stay. Don't let it
Amen.
it will cause problems down the road.
And that goes for your human experience too, everyone.
Yes. Get away from those drama queens and narcissistic people and the blamers and complainers.
It's
And,
funny you say that. I'm already talking to my nieces and nephews about that.
uh-huh. It is. It's the truth though.
Yeah, it is. It really is. Wow.
Yeah, it's so I have to also tell you something else. When we first moved there, we lived in Thousand Oaks, and um it was the second house that we had rented. And I don't know, it just didn't feel right, but we were a little desperate, so we took it.
Totally. Totally.
And the inner portion of the house was fine. And then one night, my two little dogs that I had, they were barking. And so I went downstairs and I looked at them. I said, "What are you guys barking at?" Right. So I opened the curtains. I swear this was crazy. I don't know how many spirits, but they were not friendly trying to get into the house. But because the house internally was so protected, they
Wow.
could not get in. And I said, "Oh, this is why I was feeling this way."
Yeah.
The house itself was fine, but outside of the house was not, was
Right.
not. And then, of course, I did not deal with it that night. I figured, all right, we're protected. No one's getting in here.
Right.
No one's
Right.
getting in here. The next day I went and did my clearing
Mm-hmm.
and I dug prayers into the dirt, and
Mm-hmm.
then that all ended. But that was
Good.
I think that was the only thing that really somewhat frightened me when I opened the curtains. And you,
Fair.
you
Fair.
know when you see them in their faces, I mean, I don't even want to go
No,
there, but
I get a jump scare
yeah,
sometimes.
jump scare. Yeah.
Yeah, I get a jump scare sometimes too. And I think, sometimes as people develop this work, I always tell them I'm like a little bit of not being scared, but I think I think it's healthy to have a bit of skepticism, and I think it's
Hmm.
healthy to have a bit of, whoa, okay, I wasn't expecting that. So,
I
that's
wasn't
okay.
expecting that either, trust me.
No, no.
Yeah.
You bring up something interesting with the land because I will find when I hold the light for a container of a space clearing, sometimes the land is very involved, and sometimes the land's involvement is not of my knowledge.
Hmm.
And I always have, I mean, how can to say you have respect for the land is seems so small to even say. And I will also notice sometimes they just have me focus on the structure, and then sometimes the house will be fine and they'll have me really focus on the outside areas. And then other times it's a combination of both, or property lines or neighbors trying to get
Yes.
in.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Whenever I do a house clearing, of course, I first clear the inside, then I go outside, and then I can feel where the energy is actually coming in, the
Uh-huh.
heavy energy, where it's coming from. And it could be a house that's a mile away,
Yeah.
but it's there. And I tell them, all right, we need to put prayers and things in the, besides the whole backyard, in certain areas. We need to write this because that energy is coming from a certain area, and
Hmm.
it's the room. When we then they realize, wow, that's the room where I feel so uncomfortable,
Hmm.
and it's from that energy coming into that space.
Oh, you know what's so funny? You just reminded me of a story. Yes, that people will in hindsight notice, oh, I have felt off or uncomfortable in this part of my home. I was doing a house clearing in person at the time for a wonderful woman, and her husband had cheated and was gone. And so it was fascinating the different parts of the house to clear. And she has a very large walk-in closet, and it was completely full except for this 2 to 3 foot wide section, no height to it, just nothing was there, but the whole walk-in closet was filled. And there was I'll call it a negative energy in that part of the closet, plus into part of the water closet. And so it was in both spaces. And I go, notice how you don't have anything here. I mean,
Hmm.
it's busting at the seams. And this
Uh-huh.
is the one spot. And she goes, oh my gosh. I said, I know. I go, you're so smart. You're so intuitively smart. So yeah, it's wild, which reminds me of things too. I mean, I don't know about you, but there was a time I didn't know how to energetically clear things. So I would just bless them and donate them.
Yeah.
But I tell people, I'm like, if something is off, if a thing is off in your home, it's off. Like there's something weird with it's either something's attached to it or I don't know what, but yeah. So
And go with your gut feeling because if it's feeling it, there's something there.
why do you think people don't trust their gut as much?
I think they just think it's make believe, or they're just feeling, or it could be their ego, or just a thought, or something, and then they discard it. But if it doesn't feel right, don't do it.
Yeah,
Don't do it.
yeah.
We one time we stayed in a hotel in Florida, and when I got into the room, I said to him, "Oh, we can't stay here.
Yep.
We can't." And he said, "Why?" I'm
Hmm.
not going to hang around to feel,
Hmm.
but we
Hmm.
can't stay here. We just can't, and I went back down and told them we need a different room.
Okay, I
Mhm.
did the exact same thing. We were staying at this
So good. No, I'm not crazy.
No, we were staying at a luxury hotel in Chicago, and
Hmm.
I almost like it was like I couldn't walk into the room, and I marched right back downstairs
Yep.
and to the lovely front desk person. I said, "Hi, I was just coming from room XYZ." I said, "I feel like somebody was murdered there and I can't stay there." And they gave me a new room, didn't say a thing, didn't have any sort of reaction, and I was like, "You know something."
Of
You
course
know,
they do.
yeah,
But they won't say.
of course.
They
Of
they
course.
won't say. Sometimes, if with I'll just leave a prayer.
Yeah.
I'll write a prayer and leave it before I leave. And put it, either on by the mattress or in one of the little somewhere. And I'll
Hmm.
say, God, that this room really needs to be cleared. I'm not staying hanging around, to do it, but I write a prayer and just leave it.
I would do that nowadays. At the time, I was actually getting COVID for the first time ever.
Mm,
And I have found there's certain things in my life when I can't do energy work, in my opinion, properly.
yes.
And during one of those times is when I'm sick. Understandable. So, yeah.
Oh yeah, if we're sick or we don't feel well or we're a little frazzled or something, do not do it.
Can I share something with you, woman to woman?
Yes. Well,
When
and
I,
the
and
podcast.
all of
You
the
guys are listening.
all the beautiful community,
Uh-huh.
when I start my cycle, I can't do house clearings. And it's not because I'm sick, but it's because my body is in release mode versus like holding, stabilizing,
Holding. Hmm.
grounding. Yeah.
And we shouldn't because
Right.
we're releasing what doesn't serve us purpose.
Right.
We're getting rid of that, and you're somewhat in a weakened state.
Yeah.
So of course you do not want to do that. And even when I do energy work, if I don't feel well, or again, if I'm frazzled or something is just not right, I'll cancel and say,
Same.
I'm sorry, but I just can't do it today.
That's interesting because I have started not started, I've been doing this for a while now, but I intuitively put my calendar up and I'll just block times and dates and
Hmm.
it used to scare me. I'm like, great, what's gonna happen this day? And it just turns out it was just a day I went to go play or something too, right?
Yeah.
But every once in a while people reach out to you like for an emergency or a loved one needs something and I'm like, I can't right now. But I've had a day full of sessions. I physically can't do it. And what's interesting though, Barbara, is it has actually sparked other loved ones of mine developing these skills within themselves. So
Hmm.
me being available or offline has actually had them rise to the occasion, which everybody's been fascinated and we've all been blown away by it. It's just been really fun. It's been really fun.
So the people in your family, did they have the same abilities?
So openly and practicing it and as, ecstatic about it as I am, probably not. Definitely not. However, there's always been a curiosity and an openness about just energy in general. There's always been encouragement to be connected with love, with God, with the divine, your way. And it's been really interesting because over time, it's it naturally comes into conversation. I don't ever bring it up. If I feel called to share something, I do. Excuse me. I really believe everybody has their own path. I don't believe that,
Mhm.
my way is everybody's way. And so what's been really fascinating is my German grandmother, who's 99 and a half now, she started practicing at 90. And she came to me and she goes, I want to learn about this. And I thought, well, I was like, oh, that's so nice of her. She's just wanting to, you know, spend more time with me and she's
Mhm.
curious. No, no, she actually does the
That's
work and
fun.
applies it. And
Wow.
then my mom's work has beyond blossomed. I was like, oh my gosh, she's better at this than I am. And then my dad made a joke the other day. He's like, "Well, maybe Emily got her abilities from me." It's just it's cute. So, yeah,
Mhm.
and then I have other family members, they don't want to talk about it. They're not interested or they have their faith. And I completely respect that and honor it. And I think, like I said, I think it's equally important that we carry this, these different ways that we do these things on earth. And I've had some pretty neat discussions with family members who are, who've studied the Bible for decades, and it's really fun to overlap the similar stories and the similar teachings. So, yeah, what about you?
Do they ever think that you're weird? I mean, my family thought I was, my mother's mother was the healer,
Oh,
and my
interesting.
father's mother would always introduce my sister and I that um, giving, going out and volunteering. So I
Uh-huh.
had one that would take us volunteering, and
Uh-huh.
the other one that would do healing work on my sister and I. But my mother, and many a times in the room, she'd come in and she'd say, "Who are you talking to?" And I'd say, "Oh, the birds, and I have all these, you know, spirit guides and
Yeah.
animals." And she would always tell me, "Just stop it. It's not real. This is your imagination." But then my grandma would tell me, "No, it's not your imagination." So I had a conflict
Oh,
for
that's
a
interesting.
long time till I finally got into my own. And my mother and father would never allow me to do healing on them. The only time my mother allowed was the night before she passed, and
Wow.
which was interesting because and I said to her, it's not about, physically healing now. It's about you feeling peaceful and calm and knowing that you will be just fine when you're in the light.
Oh.
So yeah, and I was surprised that she allowed me, uh, because all the years it was always stop it, you're weird, you're witchy.
Hmm.
When is the old Barbara coming back?
Hmm.
And so there was that tug of war within me, but
Hmm.
I knew in my heart I needed to be authentic and be who I was meant to be.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. I'd be so curious if your mom in her final days, when people begin to cross over in death, you get that lucid state. I'd be
Mm.
curious if she saw some things or felt some things that started to kind of open her up to that. I
I
don't
think
know.
so because when I would walk into the room, I could feel her mother. I
Yeah.
can feel her brother who died in World War II.
Yep.
I can feel the aunt. I can feel them in the room.
Totally. Totally.
And I knew that she can see them because she, when they say sometimes when people pass, they start putting their hands up or they start
Yep.
looking up to the ceiling, is
Yep.
because they're seeing loved ones
Yep.
without a doubt. And so I knew, all right, she is seeing what I'm feeling now.
Right.
And so when I walked over and I said, "Can I do, some clearing, some having you feel more peaceful and calm about your transition?" She nodded, yes. So, and I knew at that moment she was able to see what I was seeing,
Oh,
and
that's
that they were
amazing.
waiting. They were waiting
Yeah.
for her.
Yeah. I think that's such a beautiful gift too, is knowing that we have support when we cross over. I've I've been able to be present at family members' bedsides, not at the exact time they crossed over, but through the journey and
Hmm.
witnessing and feeling and sometimes even seeing family members come back in, or
Hmm.
sometimes I'll even tell certain people in my life, I'm like, you need to send them back. Tell them to wait a year.
Uh-huh.
Obviously, I can't control that. I say it
No, they need to heal.
yeah. It's interesting. Back to your question. My, I think what my family has always said is we want you to be healthy and we want you to be happy.
Hmm.
And I have no doubt there was times that they thought things were weird, but I
Hmm.
was never, and I know you were similar, but like I was never ever pushing anything on someone. I actually think I
Right.
had more friends that probably thought it was strange, which I can understand because especially when I went through the big exploration process, but I'm beyond lucky, fortunate to have an exceptionally supportive family, and it extends to siblings, cousins, I mean, aunts and uncles, and my family is also very pragmatic and very everyone in our family is just very accountable. So it's not like I could just come in and say, "Hello, I'm a beautiful healing goddess. What are your needs today?" Every
Uh,
every single one of them would have lined up to slap me and say, get it together."
it's amazing. So yeah, but yeah, I had a little little different. But
Mm,
my sister, though, on the other hand, who is extremely psychic, doesn't use her abilities in any way.
right, right.
I noticed over time, her body is breaking down
Why do you think that is?
because she's not listening to her inner self. So she knows, she gets these gut feelings. She has
Yeah.
that knowing, but she's not following through with the knowing.
It's interesting you say that because I think what people really fear isn't necessarily the dark per se, it's their own power
Hmm.
and what that means.
Yes. And I think with my sister, I really feel she could have been very powerful,
Right,
very, very
right,
powerful, but she chose for whatever reason not to.
right.
Um, I don't know, maybe it was the relationships she's been in. Um, Not quite sure.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
she does call me because she lives in Florida and she'll ask me, there's something weird in my house. And I
Mhm.
always tell her what to do. And she does it. Now she
Of
does it,
course.
you know.
Yeah, it's funny because I'll have clients, they'll hire me for like intuition development, energy training things, and some of them, especially in the one-on-one space, like they just pick up on it just so rapid fire. And then it's kind of this catching up of now how do I use it in the day to day?
Hmm.
That's the other piece is we have to go from, well, I've been functioning from my head my whole life and it's served me well. Now, how do I integrate from heart, from alignment, from expansion, which is very different. Also, it's so funny because realizing your own power, I think getting eclipsing past that's important because initially you think, oh, I don't want people to think I'm better than them or I know more than they do or anything like that. And you and I know that is the last thing that actually happens. It's like the more in your power you understand, the more, I couldn't say humbled, but just more connected you feel to everything. And you
Yeah.
realize we all have an equal part in all of this.
Oh, we do. There's no doubt in my mind, but some people don't feel that way. And
Yeah.
that's okay.
And
Everybody
that's
has their
okay.
own, opinions and everything. It's funny that I remember when uh, when I lived for just a few months in Florida because my father had a heart attack, so I had to help him. And so, because my mother had Parkinson's at the time, um, so the months that I lived there, I brought my Roddy, my dog, with me,
Oh,
and
like Rottweiler, is that what you mean?
yes,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
and then he started not feeling well, and I really feel in my heart that a lot of the energy from the two of them he actually picked up. And when I would go over to him and touch him, I could feel that there was a tumor, and lo and behold there was a tumor, and then he had passed away.
Hmm.
But do you feel that, because I guess my question is, um that animals, because I know my Sammy, there was no doubt that he was protecting me from the two energies that were there. Her with the, Parkinson's, and my father again with the, calling me witchy and all this, even though I was helping them,
No,
it was
they always need your help.
they always need your help. Yeah.
Everybody always comes knocking at some point.
hmm But do you ever feel that sometimes if a person is extremely negative and they have a dog or a cat, that the animal will pick up on that energy?
You know, you're hitting on such a hot topic for
I
me right
know.
because
Yeah, it's a tough one.
not only do I agree with you, yes, I have also come to learn through my experience with pet communication and animal communication, and that they, even though they're still animals at the end of the day, right? They still want pets and they want to eat their treats and all that good stuff. They also have this wise ambition in them. And they're very clear on their purpose with us, where you and I are like sweet, fuzzy, cute, maybe a little bit of a guard dog, whatever. They're wise beyond their years. I There was a lovely client. Sometimes it feels funny to call people clients, but just because you care so much about them. And her pet is about 3 to 4, maybe, and going through some tough stuff right now, and they're not sure if he's going to make it. And when we're communicating with him, he was so full of vibrancy and life and love. And he goes, "I'm proud of my little life."
hmm
And I was just like, oh, my heart. And it taught me, it took me into such an emotional lesson for myself. Animals teach us things all the time. For example, that longevity isn't always the key to a good life.
Right.
We think it is, and that's what we want with our loved ones. And he just was so all encompassing of this loving, present
Love him.
energy. And he brought it to so many people. So and I do believe there's an air of not just protection, but like knowledge with this one particular. And then I've been learning from my pets, you know, I mean, they're not teaching me recipes or how to sous vide anything, but they are teaching me in just these gentle, energetic shifts in the
Yes.
moment. They're reflecting to me certain things. I'm like, oh, okay, yes. So, long answer to your question. Animals,
They do pick up. They can. Yeah.
definitely.
You know.
Yeah, I think that I'll be curious again as we, as a collective, as a conscious expand, people who will work with animals more to help them curate their own gifts for us even more will be cool. And I
Yeah, I
don't mean
know.
that in
Yeah,
a
it's when you have
Mhm.
pets. I mean, my two passed away a little while ago. They were two little ones.
Oh,
One he Alex lived to be 19 and a half, and the little girl was
ooh,
16 and a half. Yeah,
ooh.
long time. It was all the
Yeah,
energy work, and they didn't
absolutely.
feel well. I would do healing on them. So,
Yep, yep,
but yeah, it gave this space more feeling of being alive and fun and happy and joyful type of
yeah,
energy in the house when you have pets.
definitely. And presence. I mean, one
Yes.
of my cats, when I play with him, I get so many insights and downloads. It's really interesting. But the other piece is getting back to house clearings. I don't know if you've experienced this, but sometimes their pets will actually give me information or guide me where to go,
Mhm.
or yeah,
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah.
yeah,
Like I'll walk into a house and the dog will actually show me, take me into another room
yeah.
where
They
and it knows.
they do. It's
They know.
okay. You want to talk about a crazy story? It's a crazy story because I was in someone's home and I don't communicate with other people's pets because it just, to me, that would be crossing a boundary. I mean, I love on them, of course, and
Hmm
I say to their face how cute they are, but you know, I don't communicate with them. And this cat looks me dead in the eye, which animals don't communicate the way we do. So looking in
hmm
the eye is not always a typical thing. And it gave me this piece of private information about a pregnancy and what it would be and all this stuff. And I just remember thinking, what just happened?
Yep.
And And I actually told my mom, and she's like, "Well, you can't tell anybody that because they're gonna think you're crazy." And I was like,
Well,
"Well,
no, you got to keep some secrets to yourself.
and I'm leaving a lot of the details out." But
Yeah.
and then everything came to fruition, and I remember thinking, I'm like, this cat here, I haven't communicated with it, it's communicating with me. And so it just again teaches me these deep lessons that they know so much more than they're letting on.
Oh, there's no doubt in my mind. Oh boy, we can go on forever here.
I know.
I
I've so
know.
enjoyed this conversation. Would you mind if I guess I'll post your podcast. I would love to put this on my podcast too. Is that weird?
Oh, no, I have whenever I send it in audio and video, yeah, everyone shares it on their own podcasts and websites and
Okay, good.
you know, I mean, this will go on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple, Amazon. I'll put it on my website. It goes on LinkedIn, Facebook. So yeah, I get a lot of hits
Great.
on Facebook, believe it or not. People will message me and say, "Well, I really enjoyed that podcast." So yeah, it'll be
It's funny because Facebook is a it's a big sleeper. A lot of people think they kind of poo-poo Facebook. It's
hmm
actually still the hottest hub of activity, especially for spirituality, wellness, coaching, health,
Yes.
all that stuff. So, I always tell people, I'm like, are you promoting your work where your clients are? Because there's a lot of them on Facebook.
A lot on Facebook, and actually, quite many guests that I've had on the show, I got on Facebook.
Oh, you're kidding.
So I figured, oh, let me just, send over a little message and see the response. And yeah, on Facebook. So yeah, I'm not on TikTok. I am on Instagram, but on Instagram, I'll put just the videos that I create. Uh,
Mhm.
also, it's hard to get a podcast on Instagram. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I feel like what I'm doing now, I'm getting back into all the. I think you're the 106 now podcast. So it's getting up there.
Lucky number 106.
Yep, 106. So yeah. And I feel people should know that there are other people around in other states because so far
Yeah.
I've had no one from California. So and that's fine with me.
Ah,
It's good to let people know that there is help out there. That if it resonates with them, they should call you, for a house clearing or
right,
to speak with you or
right,
animal communication or whatever it may be.
right, right.
It's important. It's
It
really
is
important.
important. It is important.
hmm
It's important that we have, not just one person, but multiple people that
hmm
we can reach out to in times of need. And that could be loved ones, friends, people we've met in community. It could be a professional that you work with once or, work with a bunch of times. It's funny you mentioned TikTok. TikTok is actually where I have met some of the most incredible people and clients
Yeah, I
above.
haven't got up there yet.
I know it
Uh-huh.
seems like a crazy world. I have two clients who just started doing TikTok recently and they're having wonderful results and they really like it. And it really serves well people who are just showing up and sharing their story or sharing stories of their work. It doesn't have to be fancy.
hmm Yes,
So,
maybe I should take a look at it then.
well, I mean, there's always so many platforms, but I have to say it is one of my favorite ones and it's highly engaging. I'll say that. So,
I
yeah,
know a lot of it is, but we need to draw the line and not put all of our energy into it. So it could
exactly.
be it could be overwhelming.
Let's actually, can we take just 2 minutes to talk about that, about how to hold your energy when you are
Yes,
talking about your
please.
work and marketing
hmm
your work? Oh, okay. I'll talk about it.
Yes.
I have found listening to my gut as far as networking, marketing, and sharing my work has paid off really well. Whenever I haven't done it, I get bit so hard, so hard it hurts. And showing up online, I would say like lean back into your light, into your personal truth, share what you want to share, and be done with it. Don't worry about I got to post this many times. I got to do all these hashtags. Yes, have certain smart business aspects to the work you share, but otherwise, what matters is that you believe in what it is you're sharing
You're
and that
doing.
you share it your way, period. And that will go so far.
Amen. Well, on that note,
Barbara, I've so enjoyed our
oh, I did too.
conversation.
Where can my listeners get a hold of you?
Yeah, thanks. So my website's emilymarie.com. My TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube is emilymarie.energy. My podcast, which you'll be able to find this episode on, I'm so excited. Thank you for sharing, is called Your Energy First. So
Oh, okay.
as you know, when we've got to go into our own energy in order to fill up our cup and yeah, go do the work we want to do.
Oh,
So,
without a
thank you
doubt.
so much, Barbara, for sharing your wisdom, your stories, for letting me be a guest here to your wonderful audience.
Oh, well, believe me, thank you to you're such a beautiful soul. So,
Likewise.
and sharing your wisdom and your love with us today, I'm honored, believe me, and I'm grateful that you're here. And I'm
I feel
grateful
the
that I
same.
reached out and it worked today. I know yesterday we had a little difficulties with my camera not working,
We don't
but it
stress
was,
about
I
that
guess it
stuff.
wasn't meant to be yesterday. So,
Yeah.
but
It's also just, and thank you too for the fact that you've been carrying forward your work for over 4 decades is so powerful. It's so needed. And it's just, yeah, it's such an honor that we got to share in this space together today. Thank you.
thank you. And of course, thank you to my beautiful listeners
Yeah.
for, opening your hearts and joining us on this journey. And, remember, you are powerful, you are loved, your insights truly matter more than you'll ever know. And until next time, just keep shining, keep believing in yourself, and know that you are never, ever alone on this path. So have a beautiful week filled with love and with light. Love, Barbara.
It has been so great to connect here. If this episode resonated with you, please be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who you want to have more of these chats with. As you move throughout your day, remember, your energy is your superpower. As you pay attention to it and trust it, you can watch your entire life begin to transform.